Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Okay, so I wanted to make a video today directly addressing Amir Ramdan Kadyrov. So Assalamu alaikum, Amir. We need, I think you started doing this a few years ago where you would use social media to promote Islamic values, um, but that were counter the narrative that has been produced about Muslims, nobility, kindness, love, family, sincerity, honor, respect. All these values of the deen, which in the godless West have been kind of lost by and by. And then you were banned off of social media, right? For whatever reason, political reasons, you were banned off of social media. And so I have an American passport and I want to be doing similar things. So I can't get treated the same way as you. And I think social media, one thing you were doing really well, you were using it really well to promote Islamic values. And I want you to pass on that torch and support someone doing that. And I think I'm uniquely suited to be using social media. I'm really into videography and cinematography, and I've been reading novels since I was very young. My mom loved novels, and so by the time I was like 11 years old, I'd read like all of Western literature. And I really need I really want to devote my life to that. So there's a lot of work I want to be doing, a lot of Islamic work, mostly learning and teaching Quran, knowing the Quran and making Quran known to Bani Adam, and particularly giving dawah to the global intelligentsia, you know, the global group of thinkers, philosophers, scientific researchers, quantum theorists, even celebrities, some politicians, businessmen, the people who are really the forces of the earth right now, to really giving them dava in a way that they can understand intellectually. um, Allah has made me for that work. Not that that's the only work. Like I said, I want to teach Quran or make the Quran known to all of Bani Adam, but that particular global intelligentsia, someone Allah has given akal, is able to do that, and I find that work interesting, inshallah. So I want to be doing that. And I need support. I need someone like you. I need someone like the Qataris or the Saudis or someone to support me. And I'm a person of vision. I'm a person of analytical ability. I've lived all over the world. I understand, the value of things. And so the more you can provide me with, the more I can do. And I also have health concerns. So I have zaruriyat as Bani Adam, and you as an Amir. I'm a Sayyid, and so I have a haq as a Sayyid, that when I have zaruriyat, that people like you are in a position of advantage, take care of the Sadat. And so I'm asking you, as one of the Sadat, to take care of me, my basic needs in particular, but then also my purpose, like the work I want to be doing, the Quranic work, and like the filming, like blogging and vlogging on YouTube, and like having the experience of living life according to the Quran and the Sunnah, and along the Sirah as close as we can for Iqamuddin, on a global level, sometimes traveling to Dallas to do some work, sometimes being in Grozny, sometimes being in Yerevan, or you know uh, anywhere, Kuala Lumpur, and the whole journey, working out, making myself fit, doing everything that's part of the Dawa process, and living that experience, and that being vlogged. But that for that I need a team. That's if you do that type of thing, then I really need to focus on the purpose, and I need people who I'm communicating with about the image we want to portray or the storytelling we want to do. And I need to trust, while I'm enacting the process, that there's a team of people documenting it, and they're good at the documenting process, and I'm overseeing the one, like I'm supervising their supervisor. I'm in front of the camera, and I'm also supervising their one supervisor. I have one contact person that I'm dealing with, and I'm watching the videos as they get published on my own if I have time. And if they're really bad, other people can give me feedback. They can contact me, if I need some sort of emergency contact. And so I want to be doing this type of stuff full time. I've written everything out. I have health concerns. I've lived a very difficult life due to my father. He's my father, and I've done my best to love him and fulfill his haqooq. But he's a shaitan. And I say that I don't. He's just he lies, he cheats, he manipulates. He's very mean. He's cruel, and so it's not I've done my best, but it's not the type of situation. Quran tells us to speak adl even if it's against our family, and so I love my family, or I've done my best to love them, but they're very zalim. And just like Bani Israel, Bani Israel, they were supposed to be the best, and Allah chose them. He gave them istafahat, Quran says, but because they wasted the istafahat, they were the worst. They had the potential to be the best, so they had the potential to be the worst. If they actualize the best, they're the best. If they actualize the worst, they're the worst. And so they're one of Bani Ibrahim, but Banu Ibrahim, but the Sadat are higher than Banu Israel. The Sadat, the Sayyids are higher. Banu Hashim, and then the Alavi, and then the Sadat are higher, than Banu Israel, and that's all of Banu Ibrahim. And so Banu Ibrahim, um, we are the highest of Banu Ibrahim, and so we as Sadat have the potential to be the very best, or we can be very bad. It's like we're the Sayyids of Bani Adam, we're the masters of Bani Adam, so we can be that in an evil way or in a good way. And Sayyid is only for good, no, but the other word, I don't know what the other word would be, but either, because there's no word in that direction, so we're very evil, we're the most evil. And Hazrat Ali said this. He said that either if it wasn't for Islam, I would be the most cunning of the Arabs. Meaning the same cunningness, this cruelty, this very intelligent cruelty, that this very selfish intelligent cruelty, right? This selfish intelligent cruelty, the Arabs are uniquely potentiated for, and the Sadat are most potentiated for it. But the same potentiality for that can also be the potentiality for kindness with that litafa, kindness with that litafa. And so Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sayyidina Ali, Sayyidina Fatima, Sayyidina Hussein, Sayyidina Hassan, Sayyidina Hussein, Sayyidina Zainul Abidin, and the khulafa, these people, they have the most litafa in their adl, the most litafa in their kindness. Allah has given them that by virtue of their fitra and their nasab and their lineage. And so my family, we have that. We are very, they're the sayyids, not the sayyids, but they're the ala of the shayateen, or the verse of the shayateen, of shayateen ins. My family is the worst. They're the shaitanun ins. And there's psychological language I can use, and there's the Quranic language and the modern psychological language. There's parallelism between them, because they're both describing very similar phenomena, and there's some difference in the terminology, and we should discuss what the difference is. But this video isn't for that. Basically, the secular psychologist will want to adjust them according to his either sociological conception of what a person in Western society should be, or a biological conception of what a primatological human Homo sapien should behave like. In one of those regards, he will try to determine, which is good normal behavior, and what is deviant from that. So when they say sociopath or narcissist, they mean something slightly different than when we say munafiq or zalim. When we use these words, munafiq, zalim, kafir, or kazzab, these words, they're similar, very similar to these words, but there's some difference between them. There's one is just purely psychological connotations, and one is al-haq connotation. So So anyways, so Allah has given me the ability to teach, and Allah has given me a lot of abilities to be doing this type of work. And brother, my father purposefully prevented me from getting married for the last, you know however, from 14, 15, 16 to now, I'm going to be 32, for 16 years at least, you can say he's been preventing me. And every young man has the desire to get married, when they're young. And every but in my family in particular, because my dad was very mean to my mom growing up. I remember being 2 years old, and I had to stand in my mother's lap and hold her like this around her neck, and her face is pressing into my shoulder, and she's crying, and I'm 2 years old holding her, because my father has done something very mean, and it was not that my mom was overreacting. She may have overreacted sometimes, but my mom also, my dad is he tortured her. He abused her. It's called narcissistic abuse, and it's psychological abuse, brother. And so we and then he's did the same thing to me. And what it is he won't allow you to be successful. He uses, you know all the appearance of being a loving father to destroy your life. And it is not easy to deal with, because it's very deceptive. Other people don't want to acknowledge it. Other people benefit from it, and so they don't want to acknowledge it out of selfish need. And they do the same type of thing with, if you don't trust them, then they get your trust and do what your father used to do for him. And it is a very difficult. There's a whole nazam, there's a sociopathic hierarchy. And I know Chechnya has a very patriarchal culture, and honor of the parents, brother. But in America, the situation is a little different. I value those things, I do, brother. And part of what gave my father that control over me for so long was because I did my part. I tried to be the loving son, and what he did was he just took advantage of that repeatedly, of me being the loving son. And so the situation is a little different in America, because parents aren't healthy psychologically. Here in America, when back in the day, 100 200 years ago, when someone was a worldly person, all they cared about was wives, children, perfume, houses, cars. But nowadays, it's like what's happened is, all a person cares about is not even his own children. He cares about living as long as they can, and having as much as what they want happen while that time exists. you know so it's not about having a rahm upon other people, and having a rahmi relationship and a fair relationship with your relatives. It's about my own selfish desire to live as long as I can, and to have as much as of what I want as I can. And in that wanting, nowadays there's very little to do with people. It is your own fantasy, your own self image, that you want to keep. You want to maintain a certain self image, and you want people around who will participate in that self image, even if it's false. You want people around you who will preserve your false self image. you know and that false self image is problematic, brother, for someone who's fair and kind and just and loving, and you're destroying their life. Like, it's a difficult position to get out of, because the only way to get out of it is to worship them, to obey them the way you would obey Allah and his messenger. And even though they're your parents, it is not the same thing. Allah and his messenger are infallible. Your parents are fallible, severely fallible, especially in America. And so I'm not saying not to respect and honor your parents. I'm saying, brother, that it's really difficult to do as a as a believer in America. And I would say that, to be a believer in America is not really possible. Like, it's very difficult to be a believer in America. Rather, you need to go back home. Like, you need to not go back home, but go somewhere where it's more conducive. Like here, brother, I support you so much, and I value so much, because you preserve, the man woman thing, and you don't let the, homosexuality into Chechnya. And in America now, the problem is that it's not nowadays. Half the new generation wants to be women, and half the new generation wants to be men. you know and they take the hormone replacement, then they dress all weird, and wherever you look, there are faces that you cannot tell if it's a man or a woman. And it's disgusting. You can't live here. After a while, it's shayateen. Everywhere there's shayateen like this. and after a while you cannot live, you feel, you just feel it's destructive to your soul, to your fitra, to your moral nature. Your moral nature finds it offensive, it's like being somewhere where you smell something bad or something you're allergic to, and you just stay and stay and stay and stay. That's not good to do, and so I don't want to be here for that reason. And so I'm asking you, brother, I mean, I just wanted to introduce myself and just to try to get your attention, brother, that I could use some help, and I would like to be moving to Chechnya, and I have written a plan for you. I've shown everything that I want to do, and so I'm just trying to communicate with you and have a relationship with you before I come. And I've had my visa for Russia. Inshallah, I want to come, but I want to be invited. I don't want to show up uninvited, and I'm in a difficult position, so I might show up uninvited. Seeking as a Sayyid, seeking my haq. Because I am a Muslim and I'm a Mu'min and I'm an alim of the Quran. And for the sake of Allah, I'm your brother, but also I'm a Sayyid. I have the blood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam right here. This is you have the tabarrukat, and I have the tabarrukat in my jasad. And so this is not something small. And I think the Ahl Bayt have a unique capacity to speak the truth fully and most justly and most rightly, and I want to be doing that. And I love the Shafi'i mazhab. And I love my first sheikh was a Yemeni Sharif. And so I just wanted to introduce myself and talk to you, inshallah. And I hope I will be hearing from you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.